Hiya! Today I'd like to do a new sketchbook type video where I'll be testing all of the white materials that I possibly could find around my home studio. And I've prepared all of the white ones, including this art graph. What I haven't done though is prepared any of my paints because it's just so much already. I also have these, okay, maybe I'll do these paints, it depends if we'll have time. But what I mainly want to focus on is those white materials, and then potentially some colorful ones, because you don't just use white color in a in a black colored sketchbook. I'll talk about this one in a second, but just to give you a quick overview, if we have time, we'll test all of these and also those inks, because I love using inks as well. So I've prepared the white ones, the pearlescent materials that I had, and some of the I tried to pick out the cream colored ones that were matching from different types of materials, and some fluorescent ones, some metallic ones, gold, all the golds that I could easily find, and then like a few blues and greys, and some pastels, just as a added bonus if we have the time, and a single pan pastel. I might try these pastels as well, but probably not. So there's a lot. There's enough for us to be testing. So just going to mount this. Okay, so now that we're on the tripod, I'm going to try and make some space and talk to you a bit. Just move these. Maybe go this way. Okay, we have some sort of order. So to start with, I just quickly introduce myself, mainly because I've had quite a few new followers and just wanted to make sure that everyone knows who I am. So I'm Kama, also known as Weird is the Best on the internets, and I'm a mixed media artist, comic maker. I love illustration making, both traditional and digital, and I explore different mediums, often mixed media, just because then I can combine everything. I've done some printmaking and currently working on a graphic novel, but on this channel I'm focusing on sketchbooks, illustration and art materials. So that's what you'll see the most of. And you will have seen some of my art, if you've been here a while, you will have seen some of my art creation sketchbooks. And I generally work in the small ones, but I do work in like A5 sized and occasionally A4 sized sketchbooks. I love these art creation ones. I'm not sponsored, by the way, but I love these sketchbooks because they're very affordable. And I enjoy working in them because there's less pressure to create perfect art, because they're not expensive and there's lots of pages to mess around with. And just to give you a very, very, very quick introduction to them, in case you haven't seen them before, this one is a slightly less commonly seen sketchbook with pure white paper. So it's more of a actually white, and you'll know what I mean in a second. I'll explain. And this one's the most common one, which has, if you compare them, it has slightly yellower pages. This is called natural white, which means it's off-white. And most of the artists use this one. It has very smooth paper. It's all right with like mixed media and a little bit of watercolor. This is ink, for example, and it's done quite well. Whereas this one is slightly different, so it doesn't handle wet media in the same way as the other one, and I would say maybe slightly less well if it's like watercolors and things like that. But they're both great, to be honest. And yeah, if you're interested in seeing these, I've done plenty of sketchbook tours, so I won't go too much into detail about those. You can check out my playlist with sketchbook tours, and yeah, check these out. So what we're going to be doing today is, I found this is new to me. I found this sketchbook black. It's the same brand, same type of cover. Everything is very similar, and these also come in square formats. It's just that this one only came in a square format. I think it's very similar in terms of like the, let me just quickly check. Just looking at my unopened ones because they have the details on them. 140, yeah, so it's pretty much all the same in terms of like the thickness of the stock on all across the whole range. Yeah, pretty much all the same. Okay, I've already started, so I'll just skip those pages just to not give you any spoilers. And what I'll be doing today is I won't be going through, like I won't be signing, like labeling anything, because we'll be here all day or all night for me. I always record in the evening. So I'll just draw them, and I'll explain and I'll show each material as I go, so that you can like explore them for yourself if you're interested in that. It's just too much otherwise. I'll put this underneath. That's good. Okay, we're just going to dive into it, right into it. Let's start with this one. It's an Artex acrylic marker, and this one's white. And I got this recently. There's a swatching video of these, like a whole pack of these markers here on YouTube. So far, right? It's not like completely non-see-through, but you know, nothing's perfect. I am going to use this case to just dump them in here, just so I know what I've already tested and what I haven't yet. Okay. There's also like this very similar one, and sometimes like an off-white acrylic marker works slightly better than a pure white. So I'm just going to put it. Yeah, you can see the difference straight away, but also we'll observe it when it dries. But I can see the difference straight away. Then I have the Posca. This one's a brush one, and hopefully it's not dried out on the pen. I haven't used it for a while. It has dried out a bit, but we can sort of enliven it. It's a really nice brush pen, and Posca generally do like tip ones. I'll show you in a second on a different pen. But yeah, it's alright. I think it's not perfect because it's dried out brush. So I'll just quickly grab a different one. Oh, there it is. Couldn't find it earlier. So this one's white. And it's very interesting to see that the white Posca is more similar to the slightly off-white Artex marker. Maybe it's also off-white white. I'm not sure if it's cream. They don't really have names. Okay, so yeah, you can see that Posca covers quite well and evenly. Then I also have this Pintor by Pilot in M size. It's a very similar concept to the Posca ones. It doesn't cover perfectly either. I'm going to have to speed up if this video is to have any sensible length. So this one is a jelly roll by Sakura. It's quite commonly used by artists. I've seen this used by a lot of other people. And it's size 10, which means that it's a bit easier to use, like ink flow is a bit better than the smaller sizes. But yeah, I quite like this one. I can compare it to a smaller size. I think sometimes the nib size can make a little bit of a difference. So as you can see, this one doesn't come out as strongly. Even though it's exactly the same, just a smaller size. I couldn't resist. I need to stop myself from doing this. We'll be here all day. Okay, what else? Before I knew Jelly Roll, or rather, like I knew both of them at the same time, and I picked Uniball instead. And this is a Sino Broad. I bought this for white details before I knew that Jelly Roll was maybe perhaps a bit better. It's more like a gel pen. It says it's pigment ink wing. I can't speak. It's pigment ink. But because it's more like a gel pen, it doesn't cover the paper in a nice way. It kind of leaves... I think I might be running out of this one. But you can see this. It kind of leaves an empty space in the middle of the mark, whereas this one covers a bit better. So that's the difference between them. There's nothing wrong with either, to be honest. Okay. Then I have this Pen Touch by Sakura. I bought this a while ago and I don't know if it works properly. I haven't used it for a very long time. It's 0.07 millimeters. So extra fine point, which might be affecting it. Same kind of mechanism as Posca and those kinds of pens. Something weird happened with this. Might not work. I think this is dried up. I probably need to throw it away. Sorry about the shake. Oh, there you go. I just needed a bit of warming up. I wouldn't say it's extra fine, to be honest, because it's quite a nice nib. It's quite a worn out nib. I haven't used it much, so I'm not sure why. Maybe I wasn't gentle enough with this pen. But you can see it here. When I was using the pump system, it kind of flew out of the pen quite a lot. So you have quite a lot of ink there, but it's, it's there for comparison. Then I thought it might be worth just why not? I found this Pentel corrector, pen precision corrector. This is like extra old. Oh wow, there was something weird in it. There is some weird liquid in this, so I might not... That's strange. Okay, let's try it now, and if it doesn't work... Nope. I think it's just too old. It's gone funny. Yeah, it's probably like 20 years old, so no wonder. Then, let's see. We should go... I'm just trying to organize my colored pencils by the type, just so they're like more comparable. This is more like that. This is watercolor one. Okay, roughly in the kind of... roughly by type. Okay. First is a really cheap Stadler, or Stadler, I'm not sure how to pronounce this one. It's a very inexpensive pencil, colored pencil rather. And the results show. It's just a cheap pencil, so no high expectations there. Then we have Pablo by Carandash. And I thought it was a watercolor, water-soluble one, but it's not. It's just a regular pencil, I think. It does feel very nice to draw with. It feels very, very soft on this paper, so that's nice. just in case you need the name. Pablo by Caran d'Ache, and I've just done Stedler. This one you can buy as open stock, at least here in the UK. And then we have Gold Faber by Faber-Castell. This is also inexpensive. I bought this set when I was beginning to draw a few years ago. It's not too bad, but it's not as nice as the Pablo by Caran d'Ache. This is just white 101. And then what else is comparable? Maybe this one. Faber-Castell Polychromos. So a slightly different range than the previous one. Am I? Oh yeah, Gold Faber and Polychromos. It does feel very, very nice to draw with. Slightly less opaque than Pablo, but very comparable. And this one is like an inexpensive version of like colored pencil. It's not too expensive, I would say. And then we have Caran d'Ache, which is the more pricey pencil. Nice, like better quality build and usually better quality overall. And more like artist grade. And it does feel really nice. And I can also control the kind of, what's it called? The opacity quite nicely. And I imagine this would be very nice for like calligraphy and stuff. I didn't know what to write. But yeah, you can achieve thick and thin easily because it's quite soft. So this is Caran d'Ache Luminance Blanc White 001. Then one of my recent favorites, Prismacolor Premier in white. I love these pencils. They're very, very soft, but hard to find open stock, or impossible to find open stock in UK. It's nice and soft. I wouldn't say it's necessarily better than Caran d'Ache. Maybe Caran d'Ache feels a little bit better than this. It does write, in my opinion, very similarly. One thing with Prismacolors is that sometimes when you sharpen them, they fall apart. They're very, very soft. So, you know, you get the softness for the price of breaking them easily, if that makes sense. Then I think this might do really well. It's a Posca pencil. I don't know what exactly they're called, like the type of pencil, but I think referring to them as colored pencil is enough, like good enough. And I was obsessed with these for quite a while, a few years ago. And you can probably tell why, because they are very, very opaque on black stock. Or like, you know, other colors are opaque on white paper. It's a bit creamy, like shiny on paper. But yeah, nothing wrong with it at all. I think this is the kind of pencil I will write on almost anything. I'm vandalizing my cutting mat. But yeah, Uni Posca. And I think I'll move on to pastels because I also have a Uni Posca pastel. So this was a set that I bought on sale. It was very, very, very well priced. Probably like 10 or 12 pounds for a set of quite a few. There are 2 layers, 24 colors. I have to say I was disappointed, but then I think, well, what was I expecting at that price? So let's see how that fares. Oh, I don't like drawing with this. It just feels like it's fighting against paper, and it also crumbles a lot. As a pastel would, I guess. If you think about it as a pastel, then it's a very convenient pastel because you don't have to make your hands dirty. It's got a nice wrapping, and it has like lines on it so that you can like remove the wrapping as you go, which is quite a nice touch, but honestly not a fun thing to draw with. Then we have Derwent pastel. I'm always on a hunt for a good white drawing pencil. Oh, that sound, I do not like it. So this is really, really nice in terms of how well it covers the paper. I do not like drawing with pastels overall because they are very scratchy, but it does the job. Then we have Neocolor 1. So this one's a permanent wax pastel, which means, I'll just explain in a second in case you haven't heard of them before. So this is the permanent one. It's a Neocolor 1 by Caran d'Ache. And we have Neocolor 2, which is a water-soluble wax pastel. So exactly the same thing, pretty much, but water-soluble, so you can add water to it. It's a bit more creamy. I personally find these a bit softer than the non-soluble ones. But in terms of coverage, it's a bit weird on this paper. That's those. Let me just check. What does it say? Sketch color, pencil, chalk, crayon, ink, and watercolor. I think I've tried watercolor on black paper before, and it really did not work. So we'll see how that turns out to stand. We're running out of white colors or pencils, so we might be able to do a few different ones. So this doesn't really pass the test. It's Koh-i-Noor Aquarelle, so water-soluble pencil. Then we have Conte à Paris. I cannot pronounce French, so forgive me. It's a French brand, and it's quite a chunky, nice pastel. I think it's a pastel, although it doesn't have the consistency. Does the job. Not perfect, not great, but does the job. And then we have Derwent Drawing, Chinese White, 7200. This feels lush. Very nice and soft and smooth. Not sure, might be my favorite apart from, like, along with Caran d'Ache and whatever that was, Posca. Yeah, really nice. A bit less variety on the thickness, but a really lovely pencil to draw with. And this isn't really white, but I think it's close enough. It's Arctic by Derwent Lightfast. It's like bluish, but it's so close to white. I would call this like cold white. Yeah, they're very comparable. I have been on the hunt for the perfect, for the perfect white colored pencil for a long time. And this is my collection. I should probably try this. No, I just can't stand them. I got these from my mom, like she got them secondhand. I think I need to be mentally prepared to use such a messy material. I couldn't. I just couldn't, but obviously you can see how well it covers. And I have some other secondhand pastels. I don't think I will be trying them. Challenge me. Give me a challenge to try them, and I might. No promises though. Next we have ink. It's Octopus Write and Draw ink. Polar I struggle with LNR sometimes. Polar Bear White. I struggle with it in English for some reason. No problems in Polish. Weird. And I'm just trying to decide whether to use a brush or a nib. And I think I'll use a brush because it's easier to clean it off. Maybe not this brush. Just drying the brush off. And I'll pick a much smaller one. So it will be a better demonstration. Or not. I think, oh no, I added some green to that ink. Oops. My bad. I think it was kind of, it's a little bit of an expensive ink, and it was advertised as something that can write on like black paper, but looking at this, I'm not entirely convinced, so I might need to do more tests on it. Then we have Bleed Proof White by Dr. P.H. Martins. And this is the kind of thing that you would add some water to in order to dilute it to your desired thickness, so it will be quite thick to start with. That's just the nature, so it's not like a liquid. It's more like it's not jelly, it's like paint basically. And it goes a long way. It's quite good at like correcting mistakes. Kind of like gouache. I did have like plenty of water on my brush, but even with a lot of water, it's still got quite good coverage. I'll just remove the water and show you the difference. Like side by side, you can see. Oh, I love this. This could be quite fun. Okay, so that was Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White. I haven't tried the other one, the manga. I forgot the name. It is an equivalent sort of white paint, or I don't know what it's called. It doesn't really have a name. I guess the Bleed Proof White is the name of the product. And then we have Art Graph. It's like a water-soluble ink kind of thing. It doesn't really have a name. Like I don't know if it's ink or not. If I call it ink, for lack of better word. So I'm just going to activate it. Maybe more. So now I'm just like activating the pigment. It just dissolves a little bit so that it's a bit easier to use. First impression is pretty good. It's not bad at all. Okay, so what should we do next? I think since this page is wet already, I'm going to try the pearlescent paints next, because this page will need to dry. So I'm just going to activate each with a little bit of water. This is a dot card. A dot card is a way for like a paint company to sell a few samples of their paint. They're usually quite expensive in terms of, you know, there's not much paint on them to try, but it's cheaper than buying paints that you don't actually like, because you can test them out and then pick your favorites. And this one is really, really generous. Like, it's quite thick. And the biggest dot cards I've ever seen. So I would say it was worth it. Oh, lovely. I almost don't want to wash the brush. I think with this, it might be worth showing you. The only sketchbook I have to hand is not the most watercolor friendly one, but we'll give it a go, just because it's to hand. Oh no, I'm making a mess. So I'll just try them here. So on regular paper, it's almost impossible to see, but it does add a bit of shine. Don't know if you can actually see that. So that's the SFD one. I always struggle when brands don't actually tell you the names of the colors, they're just numbered. It's just harder to identify them. Then we have number 2. I could look at it forever. I don't usually use them in my art, but when I do, I could stare at it. Yeah, on white it doesn't really show. Oh, that is lovely. Okay, this one shows a bit better. Maybe I just need to give them a bit more of a chance. No, not really. Only when it's like almost dry, it actually makes a difference. Okay, and then number 4. Just plonk it there. Oh. Sorry for my noises. I am just amazed by these every time, without a fail. So yeah, this swatch card was kind of pricey, but it was worth it. And it's, I don't know how to pronounce them, but you can see them on the screen. Watercolors, Shiny Fairy Dust, Volume 2 dot card. I love them. And then we have, and I forgot the name. I'm sure it will come to me in a minute. Completely forgotten. Just activate them. No, I still don't remember the name. This one's Dark Forest. Oops. Not much visible. I will lift them up in a second, just so you can see what's going on there. On white stock, they're a bit dull looking, but I kind of like this effect. It could be quite good on like painting something moody, potentially. This is very similar in a way. to the previous one. I might go back to the forest one just in case it activated better by now. Yeah, it's a bit nicer. Oops, too much. I think I added too much water to that swatch. Okay. I forgot to give you the name. So the first one was Black Forest, this green, and this weird grey. Then we had Royal Blue, which is this first one and that. Then we had some kind of spacey one, Deep Space, which was this one and this one. And we had Fairy, which is this pink one, is this bluish one, and this sort of pink one. And then we have the next one is Supernova. I need a bit more water. Really nice pink. Sort of warm tone. And the last one, Vibrant Pink. This one was a whim buy, and I'm glad because it's the strongest of them all. If you can actually see it on white stock. Not quite sure what happened with this Black Forest because I'm pretty sure it was more visible when I tested it elsewhere. It could be due to different kind of stock acting differently. Okay, anyway, it's getting quite late and it's been quite a long time testing. Do let me know if you'd like me to test all my gold and silver and fluorescent materials. I was also thinking of testing the magic pencils, potentially all of them, maybe just one. So let me know in the comments if you'd like me to do that, but I realized that this video has been quite long already and don't want to bore you. I could quickly test these cream ones because there is a tiny amount of space, so I can fit them in quickly. Neocolor, Desert Rose. I'm just going to do it super quick, just because we're out of time. Then we have Derwent Pastel, Yellow Ochre. Pretty well covering. Then we have Stabilo Carbofello. Not quite sure what the name is, but number is 0692. This is quite soft on this paper. Then Stabilo Carbofello 105. Very similar. And Posca Beige. Oh no. It didn't work too well. Always making a mess. It's my middle name. Then we have Artex C19. And Caran d'Ache Luminance Buff Titanium. It's alright, but not compared to the others, it's not that great. on black stock. Then we have Posca pastel. I'm sure one of these tells, oh, light orange. The text might be telling us what color it is. It's right there. Absolutely no comparison with the rest. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this was useful in some way and that, you know, it saves you some research. I know that I wish someone showed me this kind of content when I was looking for the perfect white, but sometimes it's good to test it out yourself and see what works for you, because what I like the things I like in here, you might not, so you need to find the best stuff for yourself. I'm mesmerized, so excuse me. Yeah, do let me know if you'd like me to test a whole bunch more. I have some inks, like the super nice gold ink and pearlescent, I think. Oh, that's white. I should have tested this. Okay. False alarm. I've missed one white. I'm just mixing it up. And just super quickly drop it on the page, because there's not much. And it's beautiful. I wish I almost forgot it, but we made it. We made it. And this would be a really nice ink to use with like a dip pen. I should really test it with a dip pen. Yeah, that's, if you've been here a while, you'll know that that's just me. Rambly and, what's it called? Not confused and distracted all the time. Just made a mess. It's hard to use this ink because you have to kind of mix it up because it's pearlescent. But as you mix it up, it gets a lot of bubbles. So it's not ideal. It's probably better for, okay, I said it's perfect for dip pens, but I think it's more suitable for brushes. There you go. We made it there. And one thing with acrylic ink is you have to, or if you want to preserve your ink, your pens, you need to clean them very quickly after using them. Otherwise, oh, this one is going to be hard to remove. Otherwise, they will stay on your pen, as you can see now. Yeah, use a cheap brush. Be wiser than I am. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Do let me know what's your favorite white out, or what's your favorite option from all of these. Whether there were any surprises, whether you have a better white. Oh, maybe don't, because I will buy it. Yeah, just give me a shout whether you'd like me to do more. I think I might do it anyway, but yeah, give me a shout. If there's any other black sketchbooks that you've tried, or would be interested in seeing me try as well, because I like checking things out and trying new materials. It inspires me and it's something different. So I'll stop rambling now. You can find me everywhere as Weird is the Best. And I've dropped some links below. I have a Patreon where you can join me from free up to some physical tiers where you do pay me a little bit for some monthly prints and stickers, and some exclusive content like videos and things like that. And I think that's it. Have a lovely day, artsy, and until next time, bye!